Good afternoon, everyone. This is Arpan from NSEIT and your host for this afternoon. First of all, thanks a lot for joining our session today. I know all of us are working online all the time, and this gets cumbersome at times. So, really thankful that you could take out time from your busy schedule and join us for this very interesting session, which is very aligned to what we are seeing happening in the businesses today. So what we'll cover today is how can you actually build cloud ready business applications at the speed of thought. So just to give you a perspective around what we'll cover over the next 57 odd minutes, we'll give you a quick introduction to the speakers as well as NSEIT, because I think it's extremely important for you to gain the trust, comfort, and credibility of what we'll cover today, having some level of conviction because of the experience we bring to the table. We'll provide you a perspective of what is the value add that this partnership between NSEIT and Joget offers for you. And then we'll deep dive into why Joget, because I'm sure day in, day out, you're evaluating a number of low-code, no-code platforms. And that's become quite a dilemma for most CIOs that, yes, I need this, but which is the one I should go for? So NSEIT has taken, I would say, a significant amount of effort in trying to put an R&D team across various platforms to be evaluated to see what best fits the kind of customers which we work with. So we'll talk you through a little bit about the center of excellence of our low-code practice, what are the kind of business drivers we've seen in the market, and last but not the least, everybody wants to see the real thing. So we will see a quick demo of what value this kind of a platform can bring to your digital journey. Having said that, let me quickly introduce the speakers for today. We have Mr. Hugo Lim, who is the VP Customer Service at Joget. Hugo is a technical consultant and a co-founder of Joget. He's spoken at various CIO and developer conferences across the world. He's also trained various companies towards the adoption journey right across Southeast Asia, North America, Middle East, and India. Prior to his role at Joget, he was part of the core product development team at Joget as well. He's been contributing extensively to building the Joget community, because I think that's a very important piece which has led to the evolution of the platform. We also have Mr. Prakash Mahajan from NSEIT. Prakash is the Vice President and heads the Digital Solutions Group at NSEIT. He has over 24 years of experience in the software industry, led multiple projects across geos, including India, Germany, Ireland. He's an IMA alumnus and certified product manager as well. So there are a lot of best practices that are brought in terms of service delivery when he's looking at the engagements we are doing with various customers across the product lifecycle management. And as a part of NSEIT, obviously, he has a significant comprehension of latest technologies in the digital space, which includes things like automation, analytics, microservices, as well as RPA and blockchain. Having said that, let's quickly spend some time on who we are. So NSEIT, we are a part of the NSE group, 100% subsidiary. We've been there for more than 2 decades now. So we are a sustainable, credible organization having delivered value for customers for 2 decades. Obviously, the industry has changed and so has the evolution been of the offerings we take to the market. But that said, we've served over 150 customers. Today, we are roughly about 2,000 people. 1,600 people form a part of the digital software delivery. We acquired a cybersecurity company called August last year, roughly with 400 to 500 odd people. Because as we focus on the BFSI sector, we believe cybersecurity is an integral part of what we have to deliver, irrespective of the horizontal we are delivering in. We have the requisite accreditations you would expect for a potential partner, be it ISO or CMMI level 5 accreditations. But what has worked for us in the market when we have been working on digital solutions over the last 24 months is customers have looked at our domain centricity, because that's a pain point most customer organizations face, that, hey, I have a good technology product, I have a good IT partner, but my business folks have to spend a lot of time and spend their bandwidth in making them understand the business problem you have to solve. So I think our razor focus on the BFSI space over the last 20 years has given us an edge over there compared to other service providers. And last but not the least, we are still working as a fairly, I would say, experienced startup. So the way we work with customers is fairly agile. We bring in a lot of flexibility. We help them in adoption of new age technologies like Joget. So that's a startup mentality, but at the same time, we bring in the stability and the maturity and experience of a credible 20-year-old IT provider. So that, I think, these are the two main parameters which has given us a potential edge, which has helped us acquire very significant clientele as we work through the market space. So how have we done that? So when we look at what NSEIT does in the digital space, so among you, there would be everybody's talking about digital transformation, and to an extent, that has become a very loosely used jargon, or for that matter, I would say a marketing kind of a term for most organizations. So what we tried to do as NSEIT is, we said we are not a 10,000 people company. We need to do few things, but do it well enough to deliver value. And we believe that three areas within this entire umbrella of digital transformation, which delivers tangible value on the ground, are app and infra modernization, data analytics, and business transformation. So what we mean by app and infra modernization are typical engagements where people are trying to marry legacy with new. So they have existing investments, they have existing legacy platforms they can't throw out, but at the same time, you have to make them more flexible. You have to make them more aligned to the open ecosystem we are all living in today. And you leverage typical things like APIs, microservices, containers, and how do you digitize at a fast pace? That's where something like Joget comes into the play, where you're looking at enterprise digitization at a very fast pace. Businesses are not willing to wait. We've seen extremely quick time to market demands over the last 6 months, especially, where digitization has become even more important. The second piece is obviously the data analytics piece, where we are looking at how do you help build a foundation, leveraging either a data warehouse or a data lake. How do you then apply data science on top of it to provide analytics? And last but not the least, empower the business users with intuitive visualization. And the third pillar of our digital journey has been around the business transformation area, which is more to do with where not only technology, but business models are getting impacted. That's where things like process automation, RPA, blockchain come into the foray. And I think the session today around Joget will be a mix and match primarily of your app modernization and business transformation program, where you will get to realize that it's just not a low code, no code platform. When you are talking about Joget, it takes care of business process automation, it takes care of workflow automation, and helps you very quick app development in a very modular fashion. So that's what we are trying to bring to the table as we move forward today. Now, why Joget and NSEIT? So there are two pieces to a successful digital transformation. A, you will have to have a state-of-the-art technology that could be in the form of a product or a platform which Joget fits in. But again, even if you own a Ferrari, you need to know how to drive one to derive the value out of it. So that's where it's extremely critical to have a potential services partner who has experience in getting value out of the state-of-the-art platform that you are investing in. So Joget and NSEIT combined, we bring together the ability to derive not only a new age, scalable, sustainable platform, but stitching those pieces together, customizing those pieces which address specific business problems for you. So what we have seen over the last few months when we've been working together, enterprise digitization, infra optimization through the cloud, these are very, very critical pieces where we've been able to contribute together. At the end of the day, for every business, their industry is it has its own nuances, even within BFSI. Even if you look at insurance, some of the nuances of a general insurance vis-a-vis a life insurance are very different, be it let alone banking or NBFCs. So how do you implement a domain focused use case which will add value and help you go to market with better variety or automated products? So that's exactly what we will try to bring together jointly as we speak going forward today. And not only now, how do we then help you from this ideation stage to actually real on the ground implementation? So the journey is all about ideation to implementation. So this is what I wanted to quickly introduce before handing it over to my friend Hugo. But prior to that, we have a quick poll for you because we want to fine tune this session also based on what you want to hear rather than what we want to say. So I request you to just respond to this poll, which will come up on your screen, and we'll give you a minute or so to respond before we move into the next section of the webinar. So I hope you can see the questions on your screen, which is primarily very important as you embark on a journey to see the maturity that you are with, because the way you approach digitization will change based on where you are vis-a-vis where you want to go. So what we are trying to understand from our audience here is what is the level of awareness you have for low-code platforms. So if you see, it's very interesting actually that though people are fairly aware, because we see a fairly lower population of people who are unaware, a significant people have not really evaluated. So that is exactly, I think, the kind of scenario where it's very important for you to understand the pros and cons of various kinds of platforms that are there in the market and which will help you in the evaluation as you move forward. So I'm sure then you're going to benefit. And without further ado, let's quickly move forward to uh, the next phase of our uh, webinar. And I'll hand it over to Hugo to take it from here as he walks you through the digitization journey with Joget. Over to you, Hugo.
Thank you, Apan. That was a very good introductions here. And I would like to welcome everyone that joined this session today. Thanks for joining and taking up your time in joining us in this webinar. So let me just try to navigate. Right. So hope that everyone is doing fine and safe wherever you are. All right. So my name is Hugo. Very quickly, I'll just give a quick overview on what is Joget and what Joget has to offer in terms of the partnerships with NSEIT. So Joget started way back in 2009, even before we have the term citizen developers, low-code, no-code platforms that really solidify and take shapes in the recent years. So we started way back in 2009 with version 1, started with as a workflow engine, and slowly we evolved from being a back-end server-side workflow engine only to no-code, low-code platforms used by releasing up to Joget DX7, the seventh major versions of our product cycles. So as you can see that we have gone through many phases, and it is very mature low-code, no-code platforms that would be able to cater to your developments and prototyping solutions delivering needs. So we are very proud to be to partner with NSEIT in organizing these webinars. We believe that we will be able to bring values to the modern days of solutions deliveries. So there's these IT dreams that we often wish that we have, but we will never get it, right? So there are four of them. When trying to solve a business problems or to deliver a solutions, there's time, right? Budget, right? Budget is never enough. And this is why I call it as the IT dream, right? So there are four of these. So the first one is being we have enough budget to deliver the project, right? As you all know, right? This is not true, right? That's why it's IT dream. And you have enough manpower in delivering the project, right? Again, it is one of the dreams, right? And third one would be enough time, right? You will have enough time, we will have enough time, we will have enough manpower, and we will have enough budget, right, in order to deliver the end solutions. And so the last one, right? The last one, this if you have uh, uh, on the other sides of the equations, right? Being the developers trying to deliver and complete the solutions, you will know that this is very, very hard to come by, which you have a clear, complete requirements for the entire projects right at the beginnings. And when you go on and spend 6 months or so delivering, developing everything, and it will be accepted right at the first UAT, right? UAT means the user acceptance test, whereby you are going to deliver it to the end customer, and customer gonna sign off and say, this is great, right? We only need to do this once, and we have completed every single requirements. And that is practically impossible to have just one UAT. So this is what I call as the IT dream, right? So the worlds are changing, right? And low code and no code platforms are getting more and more relevant as the ownerships of the systems start to shift to the business owners, and the business owners would like to take charge of the delivery as well, as they do have the domain expertise, right? And being able to see and build visually, it is definitely a plus, right? So that is why local no-code platform is getting more and more relevant, instead of going with the traditional software development life cycle like waterfalls and such. So we are getting into what we call as a iterative or DevOps, right? Deliver and change as you have your end users start trying them. So iterative development cycles is what it's uh, uh, um, being popular these days, right? So all these questions, right, are the always, right? SDLC, waterfalls, are you and the pace of deliveries, right? People are asking more and more in a lesser and lesser times, right? How can we deal with all these constraints, right? So in accordance to a survey conducted by Forrester, right, back in 2018, right, this would reaffirm all these concerns that we have on delivering a customs applications using traditional coding, right? They are facing all these difficulties, right? High cost, the budget, right? Time, right? Time consuming, lack of flexibility, and the changing requirements. So before we can deliver, the customers would have a change of minds, or would, once they start seeing some screens, right? Then they would say that, aha, right, I wanted the other way, right? Now that you have shown me this, I think that way would be better, right? So changing business requirements as well. So why, right? Why low code no code is here to stay, right? So based on the survey here, right, it shows that 92% of the respondents stated that there are significant to and modest improvement by using no-code local platforms in meeting their needs. right? So this is another survey, right? That says that 75% of large enterprises will be using at least 4 low-code development tools to fulfill their needs in both IT applications development and also citizen development initiative as well. So what does Joget has to offer then, right? So very quickly, Joget, with Joget as a local platforms, there are screen builders, right? So that you can focus more on solving your business problems rather than trying to fight with a system or needing to create all the back-end stuff like table schemas, creations, and things like that. So we have for example, we have the form builders with what you see, what you get, right? As close as possible to the real delivery layers, right? We have a form builders in which we will be showing a demo after this, right? So you can drag and drops and start building your forms, your list, right? Or the end users interface as well. And we have the process and API builders, right? So no system sits in silo, right? So the same can be said to any platforms as well as Joget as well. So with the applications that you have built, we can then expose them and to integrate it with your existing systems. Report builders is also a way to harness the data collected and to show analytical data as well. And we do have a plugin architecture, right? So that you would be able to extend the functionality of the Joget platforms in meeting your needs. So this is the product architecture diagrams. As you can see here, right? Joget would be able to runs in various environment and platforms. So it doesn't uh, you should be able to find the preferred ecosystems or the hosting services in one of these here, right? So Joget would be able to run on-prem, on cloud, in a private cloud setup, or even a containerized, Dockerized environment as well. So integrations, right, like I said earlier, is a key. There no system sits in silo. So as you build applications, Joget would be able to then you be able to create the endpoints to expose them so that you would be able to integrate Joget with your existing systems or even the other way around as well. You will be seeing a demo of this as well later on. Uh, so security, right? Security, it's utmost importance to us. We would be sending it to 45 on-demand scanning. We will not release, make a release of our product until we get a 5-star rating. So what does 5-star rating means, right? It means that we are complying to a set of standards. For example, the FISMA and the PCI data securities, so on and so forth. So um, since we have the plugin architectures, right, it is also possible for us to integrate with other emerging technologies out there. For example, integrations with Hyperledger Fabric, being able to create transactions, to retrieve transactions, so on and so forth, right? It is made possible by the plugin architectures so that we can plug it in into various endpoints in Joget to realize this. And the same can be said for AI as well. We have a insurance customers as a customers that make use of this in order to perform a first loss notifications accident scenes analysis by using AI. So in with Joget, right, we do have the TensorFlow plugins that would also help you in making decision making when it comes into process flow design routing. Uh, So Joget DX as a no-code local platforms, it doesn't just deal with or help you with applications development, right? It doesn't stop there. We will also help you to monitors and collects all the important monitoring metrics, right? So that we would be able to continue to optimize and improve the delivery as you go after you have gone live as well. So Joget is being trusted and used by more than 350 customers worldwide. And as you can see here from the select customers that we put on this map here, and we have more than 1,500 downloads across various editions with more than 11,000 community members and still growing. So very quickly on the BFSI industries. These are some of our customers. And so as it is a app building platforms, right? It is also being used by some other industries as well, right? From networking, Cisco to BP, oil and gas, to aviations, right? Asia's, governmentals, like the French governments, so on and so forth. So very quickly, a little bit of case studies that would be relevant to the webinars today. Right, we have a private bank as a customers and in Indonesia. So they are making use of Joget to automate and to manage access requests, and by doing so, right, they are able to save times and consolidate all the paper requests that is being sent by new staff onboarding process, right? As a bank, they have many systems that will require user access and user account creations. So they are moving from paper flow, which is not scalable and not trackable, right, into a Joget solutions where they are able, right, to automate and to manage all the approvals using Joget. And moving on, we have a governmental customers in California. They are automating their paper flows into digital e-forms and through various application forms and administrative operations levels, right? So they have developed various applications. So the testaments here is that they are actually able to reduce the developers or the staff member needed in order to maintain all these flows and applications that they have. Right? So in a matter of months, they are able to digitalize some of their paper flows and even get to save budget and reduce their staff count as well. And moving on, right, we have a general insurance provider in Europe, and they are using they are using Joget to automate to develop automated order systems and interfacing it purely using email only. So with emails, Joget interacts with the end users through emails, right? Through emails, they are able to upload various documents needed and go through the whole approval cycles by interacting with each of the stakeholder throughout the process. And lastly, we have auto insurance carrier. So this is the one that I mentioned earlier. They developed a first notice of loss mobile app with AI, ML, machine learning integrations. What does this mean is that so compared to previously, when their customers get into a accident, car accident, right, they will need to spend they will need to spend time calling up the hotlines and trying to relay all the possible informations to the insurance company, right? So how severe is the damage and where it happens, so on and so forth. So it is a very manual process, and so they actually develops a um, AI model, right, where they are able to, based on the photo of the taken in front of the car, right, they are able to feed it into a AI model and to estimate the damages and the dollar value. So with the AI model develops, right, it is not done yet, right? So they needed a platforms, right, and to piece them together. So they are so we worked with them and came up with a solutions whereby we would be able to tap into the AI model to, so the Joget app, right, would be uploading the um, photo of taken at the accident scene, right, and to feed it into the AI model and to receive the response back from it, right, in order to continue with the budgeting, estimations, and the approval process back in Joget. So I hope that this would give you a good idea on what Joget as a platforms would be able to deliver through some of these select case studies here. And yeah, that's all from me. Over to you, Prakash. Thank you.
Hi, Hugo. Thank you very much. So, I think after having heard Hugo and Arpan, we talked about Joget as a platform, and we also talked about NSEIT, how NSEIT can help. And I'll get deeper into the product, the way the product can be, configured very quickly to achieve certain workflows. So I'll take you through some demos. Yeah. So just to set the context, I think we're talking about Indian scenario, and I think most of these problems that you see on the left hand side are all the industries are plagued with these problems. So I've been working in the industry and mostly in the banks. So you see, for a lot of banks, the number of delivery cycles or the number of go live that happen in the year is very limited. I mean, typically banks would have a go live cycles of 3 or 4 cycles in a year. So now imagine you just completed a cycle and then you have a COVID situation and you urgently want to make some changes in the production, but then it is not going to give you that flexibility because you'll have to wait for the next cycle to come. So a lot of customers, a lot of banks are plagued with this situation where there is no flexibility. The number of CRs that are there on the table, they're waiting. So business is moving faster and IT is not able to respond. Okay, so then that actually results into very low operational efficiency. And from the customer's perspective, it is also very frustrating. Okay, just a second. Okay, so what we are talking about is we are talking about various processes, business processes that are there. So you take about the customer onboarding process, you talk about claims management process, invoice management process. These are simplified processes, but even to achieve these processes, there is a lot of struggle in the BFSI sector. So what we are talking about is we'll just quickly show you how we are actually configured Joget to achieve a simple workflow, and then I'll take you through the configuration ability, how quickly and how flexibly we can actually create these workflows and the applications end to end. Okay, so I'll just hand over the control to Rishikesh, who's going to share the screen. Rishikesh, you can take over. Okay, so you see here, this is the Joget's landing page. we have on the right hand side, you see there are many applications that are built on Joget. And one of the application is something that we have built for this demo, which is vendor management. Okay, you see on the top right corner, you see Aman Sharma, who's the administrator that we have selected for this application. So he's the guy who's logged in, and we will start with the vendor management demo. Okay. So it is interesting to see that I just set the context that what we are showing is we are showing a vendor management demo where we are showing you the registration, how quickly the registration can happen and how the multiple people can approve. Okay, of course, we will not go through multiple levels of approval in the interest of time. So we'll show you a vendor registration and then we will show you a vendor approval. Okay, so now with that context, if you see here, once after you logged into the dashboard of the application, which is the vendor management system that we have built for this demo, you see there are many widgets. So we have a scheduler here, which is more like a calendar. Then we have activity dashboard. Then we have a status dashboard. And then we have also got the request by group. So we have built this, extrememly functionally rich application, which is vendor management system. I'll just show you some part of it. So it has actually go to the. Can you go to the go below, Rishikesh? Yeah. So it has this multiple activities. So you have listing, you have a product launch, we have product training. So this shows the dashboard of at what stage each of these activities are, and you can actually get deeper into it. Of course, the widget that you are seeing on the screen, all of them are configurable. Joget has this powerful dashboard building capabilities, using which what you see on the landing page, it is something that you can exactly control. Okay, and again, what you see and what a different group will see, even that is that can be controlled. So to an extent where an individual can have his own dashboard prepared. Okay, so if you'll see here on the scheduler, on the calendar, you have some of these activities which are shown as high, some of them are medium. So it also classifies and shows you which of the activities you're supposed to do that are critical for today. Okay, now we'll do a quick vendor registration. So in the interest of time, yeah, can you click vendor registration? Yeah, so you see once after you click the vendor registration, so this is the detailed form that we have prepared. So this actually gives you a complete, all the fields which are there. So you have company details, then you have, can you scroll through? Yeah, company details, then you have relevant document that can be uploaded, and then you submit. Okay, so here when you're entering the company details, what is important is the groups that are created. So for which group this vendor is getting registered and what kind of service that the person is going to offer you. So you have IT services, you have finance services. So all these categorization or attributes are configurable, and they're configurable on the fly as well. Okay, so here you can also decide the level of the vendor, which is level 1, 2, 3, and then you see GST number. All the regulatory data also can be captured. And then as a important step, which is very critical from Indian context, the KYC is you can also enter the KYC details. So we have pre-filled the PAN card here for this, and then we can just click on the complete. Yeah. So if you see, this is a simple form that we created, which almost had more than 60 fields. Okay, and just for your information, such a form can be built if you have clarity in terms of what you want to do, what your form is going to look like. Such forms can be built within less than 1 day, in Joget. Okay, ideally, otherwise, when you're talking about a Java environment or you're talking about any other custom built application, it normally takes a lot of time to build a simple form like this. Okay, so now this vendor registration is submitted. We'll just quickly show you how it actually shows you in the workflow, because all these are workflow based systems. So Rishikesh, vendor management. Yeah, so we just created this first entry, which is this RI Industries we created as a partner, and then you see the process status is going to load. So here the data will say hi. So you see the process status is loaded. So this shows that after first stage of completion, after the form is entered, the whole life cycle is completed to an extent of 25%. Okay, so you started the vendor creation. Now it will go to the legal team for approval, and then there are further steps in the workflow. So it actually gives you an extremely intuitive front end wherein you get to know where my application is and what stage it is and what is my next activity is going to be. Okay, so this is a very interesting way of depicting, and it's very user friendly way Joget describes. Okay, so we'll go and quickly approve this. So we have to log in as a different user because now the application has gone to a legal team. Okay, so you see what is interesting here is when you have a legal, when you log in as a legal team, you get to see a activity list as a work list. Okay, so you see on the first line item itself, you have the what activity needs to be done. So this is come for your approval. So it is more like a inbox view, and then it becomes very easy for customers to navigate. Okay, so we'll quickly approve this. Yeah, so this is where the same form is loaded. Now, if you see the form is non-editable. So it is configuration in Joget that when you're moving the form to the next level, whether the form is going to be configurable, editable or not editable is something that we can control through the platform. Okay, so we have for this request for this application, this is non-editable. Okay, so only legal team, the person who's going to be doing this approval will be able to add his comment, and then you just say complete. Okay. Now, if you see the application, I showed you that it went into two stages. Okay. The first stage was application entry, and second stage was application approval. So you see the workflow now. It will show you that it has moved to 66%. Okay, so it is completed second stage. Okay, so you see there are out of the 4 stages, it has completed 3 stages now, so it is showing 66%. So this is how the application will keep moving in from different bucket, and every stage you could actually add comments or add delete comments, or you can send it back if there is more data required. So the entire back and forth through the workflow is possible. Okay, and that is all configurable in Joget. Okay, now having seen these applications now, I'll just quickly show you how we actually are going to configure Joget. Okay. So we are coming to the configurable configuration abilities of Joget. Okay. So we are going to show you 3 things. One is the how to build a form. Okay, so there, if you see on the there are 3 widgets that you see: building a form, creating a data list, and creating a user view. So these are the 3 important activities using which you can actually build the entire application. And it's very interesting because it gives you a lot of flexibility. So I'm sure the way Joget the tool is, I mean, it is not going to be possible to cover the entire functionality of Joget, but I'll just give you some overview so that you can appreciate the depth of the product. So we'll quickly start with the form. So you see the form being built. So these are the forms, that the list that you were seeing, that these were the so many forms we were created. Now you see this is the form. So the form that we just use for vendor registration, you are seeing it on your screen right now. So here all these fields are there. So on the left hand side, if you see, there are many fields which are password field, hidden field, text field, or date picker, if you want to upload a file. So all these fields are out of the box. So you just have to do a drag drop. You don't have to do any coding. Okay, here we'll just quickly show you how to do a drag drop. So we can pick a field from the left hand side, and then so now we have selected a box, so you can name it. Okay, and then once you have named the form, it also not only accepts data from the end user, but you can build a form to pick data from a database. Okay, so you could also have a JDBC connection, and using a JDBC connection, you could actually select connect to a simple database. So for this application purpose, we are picking this data from a table, okay, which is app fd underscore country, and from there the data will be populated here. So when you see the preview of the form, yeah, so that's another interesting thing about Joget is when you're building a form, you are also able to see the preview of the form. So you see the country field which we just added is shown here. So there are only 5 or 6 countries that we have selected for the demo purpose. So that is this data is coming from a different table and from a different it's from the database directly. Okay. So this is on the form, and once after you, as a part of the form, when you're adding the fields on the fly, it's important that you build validations, and these validations are extremely critical because a lot of times your frustration on the form is because there are no good validation and it keeps accepting junk data. Okay, so these validation framework is extremely scalable framework that Joget has provided. Okay, and you see there are a lot of validation frameworks which are already part of the out of the box offering, and you could also write your own code, and then those validations can be using this bean chain validator. You can actually write your own code, and you can add different validations. It also gives you some kind of
Waiting, let me just try to elaborate based on the screen here. So Prakash was explaining that the validators itself, it is actually part of more than 20 categories in the Joget plugin architecture. It is actually extensible. So if you find that from the existing list, it doesn't fulfill your requirements, we can develop a plugins in order to fulfill that as well. So Apan, can you just click OK? Yeah, thank you. So on the left, I would also like to highlight that on the left, all these elements that you see here, it is also extensible. So for example, we would like to develop a solution, say for a stock exchange, right? You will need to have some kind of indicators. For example, there is a text field, but if you need something maybe that deals more with numerical values with financials data, right? So let's say you would like to develop a numeric fields, right, that will do more than what a standard text field can do. It is also possible to develop. We also have governmental council as a customers, right? So they develops a Google Maps form elements, so that citizens would be able to file reports if there's any problems on the roads, whatever, where they need to pinpoint locations. They're able to do that as well. So this is the form builder, and yeah, so maybe up you can go on with the next screens, and I'll try to take on from there from Prakash while waiting for him.
Sorry
And
guys, I'm back actually. Sorry,
right,
I lost my internet.
yeah. So yeah, Prakash, over to you. Back to you.
Okay. So I think I just heard Hugo completed the form piece. Okay. Now we can go to the next one, which is the data list. Okay. So the data list is the next control that we have. So using data list, you can actually create a subset of the data. So this is more for you to see the entire data in tabular format. So you are there are thousands of people who are doing data entry, and then you as a administrator or you as a supervisor, you would like to see how my data is getting built up. So you could actually build certain widgets like this here, and we saw that the vendor registration form had more than 60-70 fields, but for our review purpose, we have selected only few fields. Okay, and then it can also give you certain fields which are calculated fields. Okay, so this is how we have created a sub list of this is a small data set of the larger data set, and then just show the preview of this. So you see this in the tabular format. Okay.
Oh, you will just need to refresh the whole data list builder because you left it for some time. Yeah.
Okay, so you see the subset. So vendor registration had more than 60 fields, but here for our viewing purpose, we have only taken these 8 or 9 fields, and you see the process status here. So this also gives you some kind of a dashboard for administrator to look at what is the status of the applications. Okay, and you see on the top there are filters also. Okay, so that's about the data list. Okay, we can go to the next control, which is the user view control, which is extremely important control, because most of your the user interface is controlled through this widget. So you see on the left hand side, you could have HTML page can be shown. You have these widgets. So the entire menu is driven through this module, and you can have calendar control, you can have chart control. So when we logged in, we saw certain widgets. So all these widgets I talked about having a ability to configure. So this is the section from which you can actually build that entire landing page. Okay, it controls menus. All the widgets on the home page can be controlled from here. Okay, so you can see a preview. So we have just created this for the demo purpose. So you can create a click on the preview. So this is the preview that we showed you in the beginning. So you have scheduler control, priority list. So likewise, you could have a extensive menu on the left hand side, and you could also have many widgets on the landing page as well. Okay, so this is the third control, user view control, that we have. Now we get into the heart of the whole system is the process workflow. So you see the processes is how we can actually define. Uh, the most intuitive part about Joget workflow system or Joget application management system is allow people to have their own workflow. Okay. Now, I'm sure you all must have had some experience of building workflows in Visio, and and then you give it to the developer to do the coding. But here you're actually building a workflow, and the product is managing the entire code in the backend on its own. Okay, so Rishikesh, can you, so we'll just show you the vendor onboarding process. We'll show you how we have configured the entire workflow. So this workflow actually loads like this. So this is so you can see your application actually can be built by a BA who just knows how to do a drag drop. Okay, so here you see these are the activities. Can you do mouse over on each of these activities? Yeah. So this is a form basically. So this is the vendor form. Okay. So it is actually first going to the admin, then it is going to the legal team. So that's the status. Okay, and then you see there is a decision making box that is available here. Okay, so whether it is approved or not approved. So if it is approved, it goes forward. If it is rejected, it goes back. Okay, so this is there are certain workflow variables that can be defined. So here we have workflow variable which says whether it is rejected or approved by legal team. Okay, so your entire workflow has user activities, decision making boxes, and the workflow variables. Okay, it also has the on the left hand side, if you see, this is a list of participants. So you have legal team, admin team, compliance team. So these are the participants that we call in Joget, and each of these participant group can be actually attached to a different groups. Okay, so that configuration you can see on the screen. So it gives you, when you are doing a mouse over, it actually shows you this is the type of the group, and the value is legal team, and it is configured to it is mapped to the legal group within the Joget. Okay, can you go to the, okay, so go down bit. Yeah, so if you see on this, there are different boxes which are vendor creation, role, group. So when you are building an application, what is important is there are front-end activities which are typically user-driven, and then there are back-end activities like sending a mail, doing some calculation, making sure that all the assignments are done. So a lot of these activities which are run in parallel or which are run in the background, they are called as system activities. The Joget allows you to define it using tools. Okay, so again, for this workflow, when you are looking at a workflow builder, on the left hand side, you see a menu of a tool, and you do a drag drop. Okay, and then you do a drag drop, and you can just have your own code written to what exactly you want Joget to do. So this gives you a extremely good intuitive interface to build an application end to end. Okay, so we can move to the next. Yeah. So now you've got some appreciation about how do we build the applications end to end. Okay. We will go to the other features of Joget. Okay. So there is one feature which is called as build and deploy. So what happens is Joget actually gives you complete control on the what version of the product that should go live. Okay, because you must have observed by now that you just add a field, you add validation, make it a part of the workflow, and then you are live immediately. Okay, so it is as simple. So in this case also, you actually see different versions. So what we have is there's a version 1 created, and at any given point in time, you could even roll back. So you do some changes and you suddenly realize that the people who are going to use it, they're not ready with certain documents, and you made that document mandatory and you want to just undo that change. So you come here and you just, roll back. So it is extremely simple to, roll forward or roll back and go live with your changes immediately. Okay, so that gives you extreme amount of flexibility. Then we will look at how do we integrate with the APIs. So this product actually also gives you API integration. Okay, so when we just talked about picking data from the JDBC, and here we are going to pick a data by calling a third-party API. So calling a third-party API typically is an integration code, and a lot of system integrators are only doing that because there are product companies and then there are system integrator who are just trying to integrate the application. But in this case, we don't need any third integrator in between. Joget allows you that flexibility and configurability. You just call the API URLs which we have from the third party, and you're bang there. So if you, in this case, we are actually picking we are calling a URL from data.goe. This is government, and we are importing certain health insurance data. So you see on the left hand side that count is showing 0 here, and if you just invoke this and run this API, it will load some data. So we'll just initiate this API call quickly. Okay, so you see the 10 records have been successfully integrated. So this is an important feature. So I just wanted to show the way you can actually build these API calls, third-party API calls. Then another part is extremely important is once your application goes live, it takes very make it stable, make it performing. Customers are complaining, my screens are slow. And then you have a specialized performance team which comes in and they do a debugging. But in Joget's case, it actually gives you everything on the fly. So it actually gives you a complete performance analyzer. That's a module that we call it. So it actually gives you how this whole product is behaving. So you see, these are the forms. So it gives you total transactions, how many transactions have happened, what kind of average time that was taken, and what is what time during the day we did this testing. So you see, we just started our controls here, and we started our demo here. So you see certain activities, but when you are moving into a production machine, you will see these graphs completely enriched, and you just have to mouse over it and you get to see more information about it. So this is extremely important performance analyzer. If you see here,
Because
you have
just doing a time check, we've actually just crossed the time by 2 minutes, and we need to cover a few questions. If you could wrap up in the next minute or so, we could then take a few questions from the audience as well.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so it shows you slow traces. So I'll just quickly, give a view on what are the other features. So you have, even the logs can be shown on the front end. Typically, it is also a painful activity. Then you have add-on builders where, the whole application can be exposed as an API for third party. So your vendor registration process that we showed, which is through form, but for that entire form, I can just expose an API, and even a third party can send their vendor registration by calling my API. Okay. And the next last important part is the report builder. Okay. So you have the report builder, so you can create the new reports. So in the want of time, we'll just say that this is extremely flexible report builder engine. And the one more important feature of Joget is it actually gives you a complete responsive design. Okay, and then that's the reason why you can actually go onto mobile very quickly. So you could also have your custom APKs which are built, and you can even port your entire functionality to uh, the mobile front end as well. Okay, so that's all from the demo standpoint of view. Okay, so Rishikesh, you can stop sharing. I'll just quickly share my screen. You can see my screen.
Yes,
Yep.
we can,
Okay.
Prakash.
So this is the last slide with which we are closing. So NSEIT and Joget. So I hope we were able to give you a view of what this tool can do and how it can actually give you this immense business benefit. Okay. So NSEIT can come in. So we can provide you complete strategy. We can actually help you implement this solution end to end. Okay. And so that's where our strength is as a services organization. Okay. Yeah, so I think we can open the floor for questions.
Thanks a lot, Hugo and Prakash. I think it was extremely, enlightening session. And I know because of the constraints of time, I don't think we could get into all the details, features, and functionalities that come out of the box that could actually rapidly help in accelerating digital initiatives. But I'm sure you can always reach out to us over email, and we could have personal one-on-one sessions with those interested in exploring further. Before we close today, I just wanted to, in interest of time, but with due respect to the audience, I wanted to just take a couple of questions which have come in from various audience members. We have a poll which is up there. If you could quickly take the poll, we'll give you 30-40 seconds so that we also understand post the session, where do you think is your understanding and possibly the roadmap you see ahead for exploring low code, no code Joget as a part of your digital enterprise. Please ensure you respond to the poll, because that will help us understand your problems with a slightly deeper insight to be able to help you further. So as the poll happens, and since we are highly over time already, maybe we'll just restrict it to one question uh, which has come up. So either Prakash or uh, Hugo, you can take a shot. So there's a question from one of the participants which says, in case an application uses an external database, say Oracle, a new version of the app modifies a data table or field, how is that migrated to production? Will it require a change to the database before the new version can be deployed? So this is a question which has come in, and if you have understood the question well, maybe Hugo or Prakash, you can respond, or I could repeat the question if that helps.
Sorry, let me try. Right. So you're saying that you are upgrading the database version, right? It would be, it's actually transparent to Joget. Joget is tested and supports various database vendors, and Oracle is one of them. So any major versions that is still in support of Oracle itself, right? Joget would strive to support it as well. So it should be transparent to the end users on this matter.
Okay. So I hope that answers your query. And if not, if there is, because I think sometimes textual messages with one-ended communications may not directly imply the complications attached to the question. So if your question has not been entirely addressed, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will definitely have a conversation, follow-up conversation to help you with it. Uh, so I think we've run out of time today, and it's been definitely a very engaging session, and we look forward. So our team will reach out to all of you so that if you feel this is something which is worth more time at your end, we will be more than happy to discuss and explore uh, how it is uh, going to possibly help you in your journey going forward. Hugo, just a quick clarification from the person who had asked that question has just come in, so I'll just address that. So what he was referring to is the database is not getting upgraded. He's saying there's a change in the app design, which is inflicting some kind of a modification to the data table of field. So in that scenario, will it require to change the database before the new version of the app is to be deployed?
I see. Right. Again, it's transparent uh, to the users. It depends on what you have changed. Are you renaming existing form field ID to another one? By doing so, then you will need to so-called migrate the data so that the same value would shows up in the new column. Otherwise, if you think that the columns that you have renamed is no longer in use, there is no further action needed, right? So any new fields that you drag in or created in the form builders, Joget would be creating the equivalence column in the database. So by right, the database layer, it is transparent to the end users. But if you are technical enough and you would like to take charge and also deal with the DB layers to perform the cleanup, you may do so.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think that I think would have aligned more with what the gentleman was looking for. And if we need to discuss further, I think we'll need to do it offline. Please feel free to reach out to NSEIT, and we will be happy to help. Thanks so much once again, everyone, for joining this session, spending your afternoon with us. Thanks a ton, Hugo and Prakash, for sharing your experiences on the Joget platform. And have a nice evening, everyone. That's it from us, NSEIT and Joget. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.